I looked it up, and the term Gen Z refers to any individual born between the years 1997 and 2012. It's the generation after millennials, but before Gen Alpha, and it's the generation that I'm a part of, being born in July of 2006. Gen Z today gets a lot of flack online for being supposedly lazy, or unmotivated, or difficult to work with. We're called spoiled and ungrateful and disrespectful to positions of authority. With the majority of Gen Z still living at home, a dwindling percentage of us planning to have kids, and an entire older demographic that's putting us down, it's easy to feel like this generation is cooked, like we're failing in some way or we're ashamed of the position we're in. When the whole world tells you it's fine, that the economy in the world is the same as it's always been, it's easy to let those feelings of discontent grow into hopelessness or anger. To feel like you're misunderstood, but nobody cares to let you explain. At times through our history, it might have been hard to tell exactly the way things were going, how everything would turn out in the end. By all measures, the future for Gen Z is trending down. The future of the country in general is trending down. But the reality is that for anything to change in life requires tremendous force. For a country to change requires tremendous force. And no other generation has the will or desire to change things like the disaffected, like the young men or women who feel left out in the rain while the rich and old take advantage of their futures. You see, in America today, but more broadly in the world at large, I think we're witnessing a movement begin to form, a revolution of sorts among the younger generations, a silent revolution, which, in its own way, is slowly but surely transforming the world forever. To understand what I mean, it's worth noting that Gen Z was the first generation to have grown up entirely alongside the internet. Millennials discovered it later in life, many of them using it as much as we do now, but Gen Z genuinely was raised within a social memory complex of sorts, an environment where, from a young age, there was a massive exposure to the outside world. Whereas in the past, you may have known and interacted with a few dozen people throughout your daily life, commuting to work, spending time with family and friends, getting some outside perspective in rare moments of discovery, Gen Z was genuinely raised growing up with thousands of unexplored reference points, friends from all over the world, arguments and comment sections, vlogs and stories and windows into the lives of varied sets of people. Gen Z grew up as a part of a globally connected society, where race or nationality and language made less of an impact on our ability to connect with people and explore the many perspectives of our world. As a curious young kid, growing up in old-school Call of Duty lobbies, I used to sit and talk to grown men, fathers with children, who told me about their life sometimes. They would tell me about their divorce, how their job sucked, how rough their alcoholism was. In a way, I was treated like a person, like someone worth explaining things to, not as some child or pest to be ignored and brushed off like most adults in my life do, but a stranger whose age they weren't concerned with. This experience of online anonymity has helped to break down barriers in a lot of different ways, for better and for worse. But one undeniable consequence of this is that people are more honest. We get to see more of human nature in a more well-rounded, serious way. Although these algorithms are predatory and sometimes keep us in a political bubble or hide content it thinks we'll disagree with, I also think in general Gen Z is more open-minded than past generations have been. We grew up in a different world, and so our values have changed and are more flexible. Right now, this isn't necessarily a good thing or a bad thing inherently. I think a lot of my generation is confused and misguided and heading down the wrong path. But in time, I do believe that this attribute of openness will come to define what our generation becomes. In my own life, I've seen how a wave in the collective consciousness online is receptive to everyone, how something can happen and everyone seems to know about it instantly, how the people act and speak is influenced by the internet and the parasocial bubble we're all subtly interacting with. I've seen how this can be a bad thing at times, with the diffusion of brain rot and nonsense, but I can also see the potential, and I've seen the potential for this creating a generation of young men interconnected and aligned on their core values and motivations. This is something that signifies change on the horizon, as any students of history will know. When a population of young men feel disenfranchised and abandoned, while at the same time aligned on what's important and how they can work together, a lot begins to change. The way our economy in the US is nowadays means nobody expects my generation to get Social Security. We all know we're paying into a welfare system we'll never get to see. We all know the housing market is inflated and manipulated by these massive corporations who have a near monopoly on single-family homes, and we all know that the levers of politics are convoluted and there are no real voices speaking on behalf of our rights and our futures right now. As the national debt continues to rise, we live under this constant fear of nuclear war, and our society becomes degraded in a million tiny, unrecognizable ways. I still have hope for the future of this country and of this world because I believe in my generation. I don't know when this will happen or how it will be done, but I do believe that if there is any hope for the momentum of our society to reverse, it will be done by this generation, by young men stepping up and becoming leaders, getting over their vices and influencing the collective for the greater good, by young women freeing themselves from the shackles of superficiality and status and growing into the mothers and mentors they're meant to be. It has been said online as a common refrain that bad times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create bad times. These are the good times turning bad, as our once free society becomes stifling, as our currency is printed into worthlessness, and as our speech and expression is censored or discouraged. What it will take to make things prosperous and free of corruption again will be a movement of educating and inspiring this generation to action, soundly fanning the flames of change and revolution. A revolution not of force or violence, but of discussion and discourse and awareness and collaboration. A revolution which is necessary, mandatory even, to avoid the inevitable collapse and chaos set ahead of us. We will speak with our wallets, speak with our vote, speak with our passion and the movement which is beginning to form and permeate through everyone our age who's unsatisfied with the state and direction of the world. As Thomas Jefferson once said, the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. It is its natural manure. Thus, to end off this video, I'd like to just say, no, you are not alone in feeling this way. The economy does suck for young people. Housing is unaffordable, and so is groceries. Our food is trash, and it is making us sick. The dating market is terrible and invalidates human connection. Our society is polarized and radical in a way more pronounced than ever, and you aren't wrong for the way you're feeling or the direction you've been going in. That being said, no matter the circumstance of the time, we make do. We fight like hell. We carve out the world that we desire, just like our ancestors before us. So what? It's hard. It's always been hard. Hard is good. Hard is what you need sometimes to become the person you're meant to be. You are important. You can play a role, and you are far more powerful than you've been led to believe.